The Android layout is the root of the UI. Layout, or it is also called the view group. It will have one or more views. Views are widgets. The example of view or widgets: a button, edit text, text view, etc. View group is a layout. That examples of is linear layout, constraint layout, motion layout, relative layout, etc. And these, in addition to the Android built-in views like button, text view, it has also support for the material design components. Material design components. See, now I'm showing an example component cards. There are many material components are there. So the design. This is used mostly in the e-commerce type of application to display the products. So this implementation. You can see how you can implement in the Android. So like that, there are many components are there, so you can use which components you want. Components, bars, these things, banners, buttons, button navigation, buttons. So for your application you can choose which components you want to use. Each view have a set of attributes depending on your view. See, the Android team recommends us to use constraint layout for better performance and support. See, to create a UI, you have two options. One is you can create the UI using XML like this, or you can also create UI in the code itself using Java or Kotlin code at the runtime. But I prefer to have the UI separately in the XML file and functionality in the code. So this is, as I said, we have different layouts: linear layout, constraint layout, relative layout, motion layout. Same UI can be achieved using different layouts. This is a linear layout. I have two elements, one text view and button. Now I am putting the layout weight as 1. That means both the elements occupying the equal space. Suppose I want to increase the button space. So let us say put 2. Then the total space is 3. Out of 3 portions, it will occupy 2 portions. It's occupying 2 portions. Now these attributes, this layout weight is, this attribute is specific to the linear layout, so we can't use this attribute in the constraint layout. So some of the attributes are specific to the layout, and a lot of attributes are common. This layout width and height are common. Now I will show you a constraint layout, widely used layout. So now I have 3 buttons: top, middle and bottom. Right now this middle button is below the top button and above the bottom button. See, top to the bottom of the top button, and this bottom is top of the bottom button. Let us say now I want to align this button on the right side of the top button. So we will do the alignment first. You want to align the end to the end of end of the top button. So now it is aligned to the end of the top buttons. So let us say now it is in the center between the top button and the bottom button. Suppose I want to slightly move up, we can do that using the bias attribute vertical. Now I am going to use the vertical bias because I am going to adjust the Y position. By default it is in the 0.5, that is vertical bias, horizontal bias are 0.5. let us say I put 0.2. so now that button is moved up. So like that we can adjust the position using bias, horizontal bias and vertical bias. Now so vertical bias delete. Suppose we want to adjust the width of this button to occupy the complete space between the top button and the bottom button. So adjustable height, make it 0 dB. So that means it is occupying the complete space between the top and the bottom. Okay, so now for complete attributes for the constraint layout you can refer to the documentation. So now for this button buttons I have given a padding of 10 dB. So now let us say I change it to wrap content. Content. So let us say I adjust the padding to 20 dB. So the space around the text is now adjusted. Okay, so now there is one more thing you can use, guideline. The layout guideline is a invisible UI element. You can reference that guideline to place your UI element. So here I define a guideline, wrap content. That guideline is let us say 100 dB. Okay, from the left beginning. So now I am placing the button aligning the button on the left edge of the guideline. Okay, so now the button is starting button edge, left edge and the guidelines are on the same aligned at the left side. Now let us say I adjust the guideline value to 100. So now again it is come back. So like that, this is like it, the guideline is not visible to the user. The same functionality can be achieved using different ways also, but these are the facilities given in the Android constraint layout.